150 years ago, this town got its name, Eagle Point, because they like to nest in the rocky cliffs nearby. Today, this is the bird's eye view. An entire neighbourhood blackened and flattened like too many others across the west coast of the US this week. In Oregon alone, 500,000 people were evacuated from their homes. That's 10% of the state's population. Now there is silence in the town of Phoenix, save for the cries of lost pets and rubble crunching underfoot. After spending the night in his car, Julio Brian Flores and his family returned today to find their home gone.
We tried to take as much as we could, but we didn't think it would get this devastating. So we left a lot behind, and we ended up losing more than we thought we could have. I only managed to grab my family and my dog and some supplies, but otherwise, it's awful. It's awful.
When the call came to evacuate their trailer park, many children here were home. It was their first day of online lessons for the school year. Across the west coast, households fled in the night. Sudden evacuations and serious exhaustion because the 96 major wildfires that have exploded across a dozen states are all burning at once. More than 4.4 million acres have been lost. At least 15 people have been killed, including a 12-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Oh.
In Tacoma, in Washington, a rescue in real time.
I'm trying.
Get out of your house! Get out!
Go ahead. Everybody get back!
First flames at the back door and panic at the front.
I'm so sorry, ma'am. You gotta grab your stuff. We gotta go. Ma'am.
You have to
I need you to hurry now.
Here now. Let me help her.
What do you take in that moment when you know everything else will be lost? This woman didn't even have time to get her shoes.
Come here, let's sit down in the chair. Sit down.
In minutes, her home is destroyed as she watches from the street. Authorities are running out of stark enough terms to keep describing blazes that keep breaking records. They may amount to the greatest loss of human life and property in Oregon's fire history. While the California governor says, if you are in denial about climate change, come here. Extreme heat this summer caused drier than usual conditions which fueled these monster wildfires. And if, because of the pandemic, unemployment and unrest, climate change isn't a big 2020 presidential campaign issue yet, it soon will be.
Well, a little earlier I spoke to Dr. Ben Sansa, a climate scientist based in California's Bay Area. His early research contributed to the historic 1995 conclusion of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change that human activity was playing a discernible role in global warming. And I began by asking him whether he believes the twin issues of COVID-19 and climate change will force people to sit up and listen more to scientists.
It's concerning that this administration is ignoring science in making public policy. And it's ignoring science both in its response to a global pandemic, and it's ignoring science in terms of the reality and seriousness of climate change. The administration is quite literally asleep at the wheel in dealing with these twin problems of human-caused climate change and COVID-19. As a scientist who spent his entire career trying to understand the causes of climate change, that is unacceptable. The ultimate responsibility of government is protecting its citizens from harm. This administration is failing at that. It's failing with COVID-19 and it's failing with climate change.
Obviously, people in California will feel this very acutely, and the scenes that you're seeing and the things that people are experiencing will have some sort of electoral effect. But do you think America is so vast and so divided that people where I am, by the Great Lakes, will not identify with what's going on there in the same way, so it won't have an electoral effect at the end of the day?
You know, I've spent a lot of time in the last 3 or 4 years traveling around the country, and throughout the country, irrespective of their political views, people get it. Something is happening here. There's a change not only in the climate, but in the weather. It's affecting people's lives, livelihoods, where they can live. Look at the impact of Harvey and Michael and Florence in the southern US. Look at the impact of flooding, straight line storms in Iowa just a few months ago, wildfires, extreme heat. Again, irrespective of one's political affiliation, people are beginning to understand that climate change is real, is happening now, and we're feeling the consequences now, not decades into the future. So my hope is that ultimately we can have respectful and reasonable discourse on what to do about it. Ignoring the problem, pretending it doesn't exist, falsely dismissing climate change as a hoax or a conspiracy is unacceptable. It's dereliction of duty.
Ben Santer, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me today.